Welcome to Podadelphia. My name is Dave Diorio. You can find me on Twitter at fat_lobster, and I am joined by a partridge in a pear tree. What's up,
Aw,
Sarah? How are you tonight?
I'm wonderful. A partridge in a pear tree is one of my favorite birds from that song, Chock full of birds. It's a Christmas party tonight. I'm back on the show. Tonight, I've been off for a while. I've missed you all dearly, and we're going to celebrate. My name is Sarah Siders. You can find me on Twitter at Sarah Siders. You can find the show at Podadelphia. And Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff. Let's celebrate.
Right on, right on. I had queued up. I'm joined by two turtle doves. But since it is Festivus, and we will need to do the airing of the grievances, where is Gene?
Gene is like the reverse, like Elf on the Shelf. Well, I know. I guess maybe he is like the Elf on the Shelf, except that he's moving. So, like, you have to find him, and he's little, and he reports to Santa. So it all makes sense. Like, it's all coming together. Why this holiday season, Gene has been hard to find on Podadelphia.
He has to keep going back reporting to Santa. He just doesn't get back to the show on time to let him know if we've been good or not this year. So let's get into some Philly sports talk, because I guess we're gonna tangentially touch on some of these subjects today. What do you say?
I came prepared. I have my booze, and I have a plucky attitude. So we're gonna see if we can make this show work this evening.
Yeah, let's do it. So the big news of the week was actually leading up to the game, and why we didn't record last night, because we're normally on Tuesday nights, and here we are on Wednesday night. And why is that? Because there was an Eagles game on Tuesday night that some of us were busy watching. So, I mean, thoughts on this? This was like the big debate all week. Did the NFL do the right thing in moving this game, or should they have said, no, Redskins, you all have... Oh, I said Redskins.
Gotta drink. You're accidentally racist.
Team. No football team. This is your fault. You should suffer the penalty. You should forfeit the game. You should play with replacement, I don't know, ex-arena football players or whoever you're going to get out on the field to be lambs led out to slaughter and lose that game like in an admirable way on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, I mean, that's the story of the day, isn't it? Where COVID is raging once again, and it's unavoidable. But I'm not certain the right thing happened. All I want is consistency. You know, Dave, you and Gene talked about it at length how the union got screwed over by COVID protocols, and I don't know. It's got to be. Here's the rule. X amount of people on your team get it, maybe postpone one day, something like that. I don't know how we can just go, yeah, we're kicking it to Tuesday. And I don't want to say giving their team a competitive advantage. You want it to be fair, but when do you draw those lines? And it hasn't been fair. I mean, look back last season. Was it the Broncos who got a guy off the street to play quarterback last season, if I remember correctly? But there's no consistency with it, and that's all that you want. Just set a rule, and if it happens to befall your team, that sucks. But
here are the rules. I feel like this is something that has been overlooked, or it been kind of chewed up and regurgitated out in a way that fits a narrative. But here are the actual rules that the NFL has laid out regarding COVID and rescheduling games. If a game is canceled or postponed because a club cannot play due to a COVID spike among or resulting from its non-vaccinated players and staff, then the burden of the cancellation or delay will fall on the club experiencing the COVID infection. And I believe that the NFL is somewhere in the mid-90s when it comes to vaccination rates, or at least in the low 90s. And I don't know, but it goes on. We will seek to minimize the burden on the opposing club or clubs. If a club cannot play due to a COVID spike in vaccinated individuals, which is probably what we have here, we will attempt to minimize the competitive and economic burden on both participating teams. That's one line. Here's another one. If a game cannot be rescheduled within the current 18-week schedule and is canceled due to a COVID outbreak among non-vaccinated players on one of the competing teams, the club with the outbreak will forfeit the contest and will be deemed to have 16 games, have played 16 games for purposes of draft, waiver, priority, etc. So forfeit was never on the table. This game always was able to be rescheduled. I mean, whether you want to say it's to the detriment of one team or the other, but this game was always had the ability of being rescheduled. So there was never an opportunity for the NFL to say, Redskins, football team, you forfeit the game.
Well, then thank you for reading that off to me. I mean, I heard vague things about, I think it was around the time of camp, where it's like, hey, if you are vaccinated, your burden, if you have a COVID outbreak, is much less, which, I mean, it should be. Like, I mean, think what you will, but the facts are clear. Transmission amongst vaccinated people is much lower. They have less severe symptoms than non-vaccinated. So you definitely want to try to reward teams for doing the right thing. And I mean, the forfeiting, I wouldn't want unless it was, willful neglect. If it was, hey, half the team's not vaccinated and it's not up to the Eagles to accommodate them. But it just, the postponement to, well, the Eagles already had their bye, didn't they?
They
so
just
I
had
guess,
it.
Yeah, they just
last
had it.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So they've had now like 14 days off. I obviously showed at the start of the game, they came out amazingly rusty, and put a little doubt in everyone's mind of whether they were going to be able to beat a practice squad quarterback. I have another quote here from the president of the NFL Players Association about those that wanted the game to be canceled and forfeited still. This is Browns center J.C. Tretter, who is the president of the NFL Players Association. The issue wasn't about how many guys we would get back. Our position as a union is that we fight for wages, benefits, and working conditions. We don't worry about competitive balance. We don't worry about standings. We don't worry about roster composition. We worry about those three things. So the NFL's position last week was that those games that were going to be canceled, they weren't going to be, those games were going to be, so the NFL's position was those games were going to be canceled. So that was what the decision was. They weren't going to be played. And if they weren't played, then nobody on either team was going to be paid. That's obviously an issue for us as a union when over 18% of our player population was at risk of not getting paid last week. So our position was that we needed to make sure all of our games are played in order for our guys to get paid, and that was our position. We took a vote with the three executive committee of the union, which voted unanimously that our position was that games needed to be rescheduled and not canceled, and we pushed the league for that resolution. So those who wanted the game to be canceled and a Washington football team forfeit, you were in favor of all of your players not getting paid this week.
Union busting assholes. We are a pro-labor show. We always have been. We always will be. But
that's a fact, Jack.
but it's bullshit. I mean, I'm happy the NFLPA stood up for itself and said, how is it on the players to shoulder this burden? The players that don't have guaranteed contracts, the classic millionaires versus billionaires debate.
Sure.
Yeah. It's not terribly fun to go, those poor oppressed millionaires, but the owners, the league have more money than God. So it shouldn't be on the players to decide their health versus getting paid. So I am definitely for the NFLPA there. Now, Dave, you keep talking about like, the people who wanted it to be canceled. The only like contingent I saw, and full disclosure, completely checked out of football right now. So for all of our listeners, I'm here for the comedy. Dave and Gene are here for the content, and
Gene's
Dave,
not
shut up.
here.
So Gene's not here. So you're like,
the quote is Dave's not here, man. Why is it Gene's not here, man, today?
Gene's not here, man. So what the hell is I saying? Sarcasm. Oh. But this outcry of the game should be forfeited. Was it just like Eagles fans like trying to screw the system, like going like, got a technicality, we win?
Yeah.
I mean,
my favorite thing about watching sports is watching sports.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's silly. It's like you wouldn't want to win that way.
Tim says Cheech and Chong always current. At least someone got the reference, right?
Cutting edge humor. We know we have our finger on the pulse of Gen X.
Yes.
And all the magazines I read from the mid 90s say that Gen X is where it's at and that we're the culture drivers. So yeah, Cheech and Chong, always current. Thank you, Tim.
I was watching some stand-up about like they were doing generational humor and how we're that like in between generations. So do you identify with Gen X?
Oh, hardcore. Yeah. And I think the difference between you and I is I have 3 older siblings.
Okay.
So I grew up in the 80s, but with like 70s era toys, Okay. So the hand-me-downs from my older sisters and my older brother to me and my twin brother. I was going to give my shout out to my brother. Fine. Fuck it. I will. It's the holidays. Hi, Dan. Hi, Harry.
Hey, Dan.
Hi, Jen
and
Harry.
Sue.
I hope you're all listening. I doubt any of you are. Maybe one. Maybe one or two. But whatever. I don't care. So, no. I'm very much identify with Gen X just because that's how I grew up in my household. And there are so many things of us with zillennials or the Oregon Trail
the
generation.
Oregon Trail generation. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, there are so many things there that definitely apply to me.
Yeah.
But no, it's give me reality bites, give me singles, give me Winona Ryder every day, all day. Okay. Gen X all the way.
All right, yeah, because I had a younger sibling, so I feel like maybe a slight pull towards the millennial side of that.
Huh. That's
but I am also, a slacker sometimes, so I get it.
Yeah, and the Gen X was big for our love of nostalgia, and a couple people on this podcast went hardcore into the swing movement. So may have seen Big Bad Voodoo Daddy a couple of times.
Yeah, Swingers is an underrated classic. If you're not down with Swingers, you need to revisit it.
And Swingers is a movie, not something that you should randomly hit up a podcast host about. We don't appreciate that. So, but Swingers is a movie, and you've heard that story, Dave.
Yes, I have heard that story.
Okay.
Yep, excellent. Okay. Oh, also in the game on Tuesday night, we got the resurfacing of the fans shouldn't boo comment from a player. If those, it didn't come across really all that clear on TV, but evidently every time Jalen Reagor was mentioned, touched the field, ran out to go get ready for a kick return, he was showered with boos from the stands. Boo, you suck. And to his defense, Miles Sanders lashed out on Twitter and said, fans should not boo individuals. It's not cool, man. That's not exactly what he said, but I'm summarizing for him.
And I know your stance on this has softened over the years, but I think, I mean, as long as it's not,
Wait,
as long,
what was my stance on this?
I always just assumed you were like pro booing all the time.
All boo all the time. 24-hour boo network.
Isn't that what WIP is? I'm pretty sure like 24/7 you can get
Yeah.
and just randomly boo. So, but going for the next one, Dave. I saw you switching that up.
Yeah, I bottled up. Yeah.
Nice. What the hell is they say? Oh yeah. But I thought before you were more like a vocal, no pun intended, defendant of booing, whereas now you kind of don't really see the point in it too much.
I'm like what would I well, I want to equate this to anthem protesting. Like I'm of the camp like I don't agree with it, but I'll defend with my life your right to do it. Like I'm not good. I can't get into booing our players anymore. It's like I'm too tired. I need to save it for the refs. I need to save it for the opposition. Like honestly, like I used to be able to go to a game and just scream the entire time and be fine the next day. Like now I go to like a 4:00 Phillies game against like Pittsburgh, and I come back and I'm like, I can't even talk. I was at the Phillies game yesterday, and I got excited for a home run, and now I can't talk for a day. Like I just can't do it. I need to like reserve my energy for other stuff. But I think if you want to boo, I don't care. You know, boo. It's a waste of energy, but go ahead and do it. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, I'm in a similar boat. I definitely defend booing. I think booing.
Wait. Would I still boo Pat Burrell, Tim? Yes, I would. I don't really boo Pat Burrell. I just encourage him to run faster. And I know he had like, you know, he's got some junk in the trunk. So, you know, trying to get around those bases as fast as possible. He needed my encouragement. So that was the Pat Burrell boo. It wasn't really a boo. It was like, run. There's the exact quote. Thanks, Tim. Run, fat ass, run.
I can't recall the last time. I can't recall the last time I really hated one of my own players, and sports hate, not real hate. No one should have real time for real hate in sports. But
well, you can real hate player like you could have real hated Michael Vick. You could have real hated.
Oh yeah.
Odubel. You could have real hated Claude Giroux for his lack of leadership. You could have. I broke this era, and now I'm alone.
It's bubbly, Dave. So when you make me like nearly spit it out,
the bubbles. Yeah.
No. I am all for like real hate for real people who deserve it, but not for this dude doesn't back check or
right.
You know, and especially some of the crap players get. But coming up small, definitely lack of effort. I always want the fan reaction to be tied to what's going on in the game. And it doesn't have to be, you know, generated by the most knowledgeable fans, but it should be a way of teaching the game. You know, the hockey thing of getting still recovering from nearly snarfing there. The hockey thing of getting upset after a clean hit. Right. You know, you don't like to see it. You don't want your players, you know, clock to get cleaned, but you have to recognize that's part of the game, and you would want your player to do it too. So it shouldn't be, clean open ice check when Claude Giroux, of all people, has the puck. You don't want it to be like something to get angry over, or you should know the game. Your reaction off the field should be indicative of what's happening on the field. So if your players are dogging it, boom. If the power play is completely lifeless, as it was under Michel Therrien, if that's happening, yeah, boo. Boo. If you go the whole power play with, one shot on goal, if you're lucky, boo them. That's fine. Like you, sometimes I feel like I couldn't be bothered. Like, it hurts my enjoyment of the game to be overly negative. I'm much more inclined to withdraw and get a little sad. The holidays bring that out. I say I'm doing well, and I am, but I mean, am I? I don't know.
Yeah. Here's kind of my take with the Jalen Reagor thing is like, I believe the dude is trying. Like, I don't think he's dogging it or, intentionally trying to do, like, I think the dude's legitimately trying. I just noticed that I'm missing a closed parentheses on my my Twitter name down there. I have to fix that. Yeah, I think he's actually trying, and it's like, I don't know. You're evaluating him by where he was drafted and where, like, how he's occupying a spot on the roster, and it's not his fault that he's in that position. Like, if the Eagles drafted me to play starting quarterback, and I am not great at playing quarter, you would be mad at me, I guess, but it's not my fault. Like, I'm not a good quarterback. You shouldn't have picked me.
Yeah, where'd you get off on drafting me?
Yeah, like, I'm a 5'10", 250-pound dude who, like, I can't. I got a bad shoulder. You shouldn't have picked me, like, to play quarterback. It was a bad idea.
In the Podadelphia draft, do you go first, second, or third?
I'm sorry, for what? Like, to play quarterback in the NFL?
Quarterback. Well, not in the NFL, in a pickup game. Or pickup football game. Where are you going?
You should pick me first.
Yeah, you should. And Gene second. Unless we're playing hockey, then I'm your first pick.
Yeah, because you may be the only one that could skate.
Well, no, also I had a good shot.
Yeah, but like, we can even reduce this sauce even further here to we can't ice skate. So if you can ice skate, you already got it. Like,
not even a little.
Proceed no further. I can skate forward.
Okay.
I can turn too.
Well, there you go. That's half the battle.
But not with any sort of, like,
grace.
I could rollerblade, like, much better than I can, but I can't, like,
I can't rollerblade. I never could.
It's not a transition like people think it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you've done neither, you're like, oh, if you could do one, you could certainly do the other. It's not true.
Yeah, I mean, mostly because I had a panic attack the moment I got on rollerblades, but I can ice skate well, I think. But I cannot rollerblade.
Okay. Now that we got that settled. All right, so we talked about the booing. What else is going on? Like, what's up with the NHL? That's something, like, I haven't followed. The whole season's canceled, right?
Not yet, but the whole season's on pause for Christmas. The NHL always does a Christmas break, but they extended it, and then they extended it again. COVID's running rampant in the NHL. Thankfully, it's what you're seeing in a lot of sports where it's the symptoms are mild, but they have it. And as long as we're still in a pandemic, and as long as there are still people having severe reactions, you got to shut it down. And, well, the best call we guess right now is to shut it down. And the Flyers were to play the Capitals at the same time the Eagles were to play the Washington football team. And they postponed the Flyers game because of a COVID outbreak on the Capitals. So I think there's no more hockey until after Christmas. I think it's the 29th the Flyers are coming back for our annual Disney on Ice road trip.
Oh yeah.
And we'll see. I don't know what the plan is.
Are we going to get a Winter Classic game this year?
So far, all indications that the Winter Classic will be played, I believe. Oh, it is in Minnesota. They have great jerseys this year. Minnesota versus St. Louis, I think.
Cool.
I imagine they'll try to make the Winter Classic happen, especially because, well, it's outdoors. You know, that's one thing most NHL games do not have. They don't have that fresh circulating air.
Is this going to be another one of those like in nature games like they did at Tahoe?
No. God, that was man, did it suck that the Flyers sucked then, didn't it? That was a gorgeous looking game. If the Flyers were playing well,
be the Target field.
Yep, it's going to be Target, and yeah, and it's just the Wild and Minnesota's a great hockey state. I mean, I think they've dubbed themselves the state of hockey or whatever, but Minnesota, there's a very strong hockey fan base there. But my God, are the Wild boring.
Minnesota's the state of hockey, yet Hockey Town is in Michigan.
Yeah, and it's really Boston. I mean,
kind of a tough sell for me.
Yeah, whatever. It's becoming Jersey. It's becoming the Philly suburbs in Jersey between the two players we have.
Oh.
Johnny Gaudreau and Bobby Ryan.
Yeah.
And a Tangradi. Eric Tangradi. He wasn't Jersey, he was Philly. Played with the Penguins and kicked around somewhere else. But yeah, the NHL, everybody's sick. Everybody's sick. The season's on pause.
No, I mean we're gonna get like a terrible Olympic hockey tournament, right? Are we gonna get one?
We're gonna get a terrible Olympic men's hockey tournament. Hopefully the women will still go, and it'll be just like it was in Pyongyang, where the women's tournament's the only thing worth watching because it was announced today NHL players are not going to the Olympics.
Will the United States and Canada send a team?
Right now, the answer is yes. It's most likely to be, essentially an amateur team. Well, not an amateur team. That's not true, because there'll be some college players. A lot of times there were guys like recent retirees or, AHL former NHLers took the trip to Pyongyang. I have to be completely honest here. The champagne has gone to my head. So in Pyongyang, the team was just a hodgepodge of, has-beens and never-wases, unfortunately. And that's likely to happen again now. The U.S. is boycotting the Olympics from a ambassador standpoint. I forget, a diplomatic, thank you. A diplomatic standpoint, the U.S. is boycotting it. So if USA Hockey doesn't have any players, AHL only contracts are eligible to play. Thank you, Tim. Yeah. So that was the case before, I believe.
But like, what is an AHL only that's really not someone you're like even considering putting in.
Oh no,
to the NHL, right? So this is going to be a like low caliber player, right?
Remember Neil Little? Remember
the goaltender?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perpetual Phantom. But the fact that he appeared with the Flyers means like, and I think Neil Little was probably always on one-way contracts, to be honest. But we're talking like career AHLers.
Yeah.
Guys who don't have a chance of sniffing the big leagues, sometimes older players to eat up minutes. It's
Right.
an AHL only contract is nowhere near the best of the best. It is the has-beens and never were. So I'm sure the KHL will send players, and the Russia will have
The
the big
Korean
advantage.
Hockey League?
Not the Korean Hockey League, although China's men's team is going to play, and it was this sort of
What?
attraction repulsion thing, because as the host nation, their hockey team traditionally got a berth in the tournament,
Yeah.
but it was just there was some debate because they're going to get their doors blown off, and they still will. They even
But like
padding it with some
that's
players.
so it's like a Cool Runnings esque kind of story. But they could there could be some serious injuries that occur by like doing this, don't you think?
I mean, probably not. Probably not. You don't really need to check that hard when you can score all that you want. Yeah, you got to separate the man from the puck. Okay, a simple poke check will probably do it. And this is no knock against China as a hockey nation, because they're not
It's
one.
just a burgeoning thing. It's like
Not even burgeoning. It's like it's like you 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 paused while scrolling through Amazon of going I might be interested in that book. And then you kept scrolling. That's where China is in its hockey development, which is, now maybe be less likely for the Chinese team to be embarrassed. I mean, well, it is less likely. You're not going to have Connor McDavid versus a couple guys who've been playing for 2 years. So that's a
okay.
difference, but there's still former NHLers, AHLers will skate circles around the Chinese team. But hopefully it will grow the game. That's the whole reason the NHL was so committed to going for so long. It's they wanted to go to China because of, China's population, China's buying power, to really expose hockey to that nation.
Who is coaching that team? Do they have like I don't know, like a famous Canadian coach to come over there and like
I don't know.
mentor that team?
I don't know.
That's what I would do if I was the
Well, I'm sure. I have no idea what their sort of brand of nationalism was. Korea was shameless, and I'm not knocking it, but it's like anyone with any semblance of Korean heritage, it's like you're invited on the team, and it was like, hey, come play in our national league, and
Oh, wait.
we'll
So
give
the
you
question
partial
is,
citizenship.
does Paul Korea qualify? Did they go that far?
They did.
It's like
He did
Korea
have some
is your last
involvement,
name. You have to be able to play. There's no excuse.
and he does have Korean heritage, but
But he's
Korea.
like 100% Canadian though, right? I mean, like just because you
Yeah, well, it's like the whole World Baseball Classic thing where it always sounded neat, and then I was like this is a little borderline creepy. It's like a borderline genetic profiling. It's like Mike Piazza on the Italian team. It's like, okay, well, he's Italian American. Do we have to do 23andMe blood tests to go
Yeah.
who are you playing for?
Oh my gosh, it turns out you're related to the original Night Stalker. How did that happen? Oh my gosh.
And the Night Stalker squad is turning out pretty good, so but so yeah, the NHL, everybody's got COVID. No games until after Christmas at least. Where the men's are not going to the Olympics. I really do hope the women's teams go, because it was so nice to have the world spotlight to themselves in Korea. Less nice was staying up to 3 a.m. to watch that gold medal game, but thank God they won. And yeah,
oh my gosh, I'm so exhausted with Far East Olympics. Like I need a break from it.
Yeah, I feel that way too, but we just had, what was it, Brazil? When was Brazil? We were spoiled with that.
Uh, I mean, Brazil was nice, but no, I mean, like we just had Tokyo, right?
Well, yeah, we just had Tokyo. So when Korea, Tokyo, China, and I mean the IOC is corrupt as all hell, and you want exposure to the game as opposed to just like, hey, it ping pongs back between Europe and the United States. While more convenient for our TV watching, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not the purpose of the games. But could we try to stagger it? Like,
Is it?
well, no, the purpose of the game is for rich people to become richer and for nations to build stadiums they don't need. But the purpose for our enjoyment is exposure to the world. I mean, I think we've talked about before. I'm a sap for the Olympics. I really do buy into the, hey, this is the world coming together and, the parade of nations to begin it. Like I eat that up with a spoon.
Mhm.
So as cynical as I can be about the IOC, I am very, very sappy about the games themselves. And I do think it's important to spread the games around for, to learn about other nations. And again, I talk about my kids all the time, but I enjoyed when the game was in Tokyo to be able to talk to them about Japan, and I mean, I'm not a scholar, but I'm an adult, hopefully not an ignorant adult, but to be able to talk to them about, hey, the Olympics are being played in Japan. And look, they featured Mario in their opening segment. Your Mario game was made in Japan. And to my son, who's the spitting image of Link from Zelda, to go, hey, this is a Japanese character. And
Right.
your pasty white Irish self looks just like him. But there's a lineage you share, and isn't that beautiful? And that's what I like to do for the Olympics.
Wait, what?
No, it's not sappy sentimentalism. It's the idea that it's like, hey, we're all one world and we're just getting together to play games.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. When my experience at the Olympics was always um
Rampant nationalism?
yes, it was exert your dominance on the world and show everyone that United States has the best blank athletes or whatever, the best.
I mean, you like playing games with your family, but you also like winning them.
But
Like I didn't like the scorched earth idea of the America won the miracle on ice, and now like there's no more hockey.
but like
But
when you're a kid though, like when you're younger, it's everything got like boiled down to it's like, okay, we don't like Russia. Like we have to be right. Like that was, in like I think as late as like 92, I was still into that narrative, right? Of like, okay, well, where is the United States and where is Russia? It's like, of course, the Russian judge. Like it was like, and now it's like, oh, I don't know. We're all just playing, and somebody's gonna win. And I realize that I got bigger problems to worry about than this diving competition. Is the
but
Olympics even gonna happen? Do you think there's any chance they cancel them?
no, there's no chance they cancel them.
Would you
Um,
go if you were an Olympic caliber athlete?
I find it insulting that you suggest I'm not. Um, but
You just said you would be drafted third in this podcast for an athletic competition.
well, what does that say about you and Gene? God forbid I lift you up. God damn it. I am officially drunk, by the way.
So, okay.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What was? Oh no! I got this.
Okay. All right.
Oh no! Would I go if I was
we
an
were on the
Olympic?
curling team, the three of us.
We'd kick some ass.
We
But
definitely would. Gene's trying to log in, by the way. I think we might have a
oh,
chance.
good.
It's
I'm
still
getting
this though, so don't get your hopes up.
well. There was a chance he was going to call in from the car, so I mean, we might
Right.
not be getting video. Tim Manning, friend of the show, and like half our content this evening. God
I know.
bless you,
Thank
Tim.
God for Tim.
Yes, definitely yes. I trained my whole life for this, waiting for this moment. Sarah McLachlan does a wonderful song. Well, did a wonderful song for the Vancouver Olympics. One Dream. I highly recommend it. Makes me cry every fucking time. But oh yeah. It depends on where I was in my career.
Okay.
If I'm Katie Ledecky and Omicron's breaking out, I go, you know what? But here's the thing: it's only every 4 years, and like she has the chance to like set and hold world records forever. So, okay, if I'm a tier below Katie Ledecky and it's going to be my first Olympics, maybe I wait because God forbid I get really sick or whatever. Although when you're young, you're stupid and you think you live forever. And again, the theme for this evening is when you get old, you get nihilistic and just take whatever happiness you can get. Merry Christmas from Podadelphia. But if it was one of my first Olympics, with the mindset I have now, I'd probably say, you know what, I'll catch the next one. Fuck it, no, I wouldn't. I would go. I'm with Tim.
Yeah, I mean, I think about like Omicron and I think about China, and it's really far. Yeah, I mean, of course you go, right? I would just freak out if like one of my kids was going. I'd be like, oh God, China,
Yeah. Oh my
COVID.
lord. That at this stage in my life, for many obvious reasons, um, it, in my own to think of my kids doing it, it would keep me up for weeks. Like it would be this is an opportunity of a lifetime, but what are you risking? Is it worth it?
Yeah, I mean, like I can't even watch my kids like pitch. I like pace and like turn my back. Like I can't even. Anyway, drives me nuts. All right, what else? What else should we talk about? We talked about a lot of stuff tonight.
Has there been any news regarding the baseball lockout? It's like the lockout happened, everybody freaked out of like, oh my God, and then there's just been nothing, which isn't surprising.
No, I think they said that they weren't even going to start talking until next month.
Yeah, that makes sense. They'll probably, just from the amount of labor strife I've watched as a hockey fan, they'll probably meet in January. It'll probably go poorly. They'll meet late in January. It'll go poorly. And the first real talks will probably happen
I think they're going to get it done.
pitchers.
I don't think we're going to miss any baseball. I think they're going to get it done. I'm pretty optimistic about it, actually. I think the owners got so like they got hurt by COVID pretty bad that year. I mean, there was like nothing going on. I mean, I don't know. I'm just an optimist. I just want it to happen. So I think it's going to happen.
I mean, I want it to happen too, but the animosity between the two sides seems pretty extreme. And how hard are the owners going for a harder cap? I think
Well, that's the thing. I don't know. We don't know. Like there's no
Here's an answer from an Alexa answer certificate that I translated. It means you don't know the answer. There is a need to inquire and study, but it's important to admit that you don't know everything.
What do you think?
So wait, even Alexa has like the holiday blues on the show, and it's time to move the elf on the shelf.
That's right. Have not missed a day.
Aw.
Move that little son of a bitch every night.
The elf does not come to watch my kids. Santa watches them with his magic snowball. And and that is 100% legit. For the love of God, no one tell them they need a freaking elf. I don't know why I censored myself. I've been cursing this whole show, but
Yeah. So I'm optimistic. I'm just like praying, please don't like, because if baseball gets even delayed, I will be so sad. And I may just start streaming like my Phillies season on the show or something on Twitch.
I mean, it'd be something to do.
Yeah.
I'm as optimistic as you are. I'm fairly pessimistic. I kind of think this Omicron outbreak right now, at least in the NHL, is probably going to result in a prolonged stoppage. The season won't be lost, but I imagine it's going to be like, we're taking all of January off. Let's have training camps in February and hope everything's okay in March. You know, that's more dire than most people, but it's not going to get better soon. You know, people will be seeing one another at Christmas, and we have no idea how to.
Christmas is going to be bonkers. Like I can't even imagine at work how much disruption is going to come out of the holidays after the new year, and like the kids going back to school. It's a mess.
Yep. Do we have any sort of optimism?
I had a lot of optimism tonight.
That's true. That's true. I'm talking about me, I guess.
Yeah, check yourself.
Before I wreck myself. Once again, another cutting pop culture reference here at Podadelphia.
Check yourself before you elf yourself.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a show title. Gene, if you're out there, Gene, if you can hear me, that is the show title.
Hold on. We'll tell Gene. Gene, we got a show title for you.
I've been sitting here for like half an hour and you guys haven't let me come on the show.
I didn't know you were on, bro. Dude, I'm sorry.
I
thought you were like
you can't see me because I'm driving, but I've been sitting here listening.
Why didn't you message me, man?
Because I'm driving. I called the show and was hoping that you would see that I was here and then let me come on the show. That's why I called the show.
I thought you were having I'm sorry, man.
No, I'm in the car. I'm not having technical difficulties. I'm trying not to die.
I'm trying to think like when I first popped you on the screen. That was like 15 minutes ago.
Oh, well, I mean, have you been hearing me talk this whole time? Or
no.
Marking? Okay.
Absolutely not. You haven't been.
Because I was like, God damn it, fuck you, Dave. Why won't you let me talk?
That sounds about right. It sounds like our normal conversations. No, I didn't add you to the feed because you don't have like a video thing, so I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
Did you hear me advocating for you, Gene? Did you hear I say Gene's planning on talking from the car?
Yeah, Sarah, I did hear you advocating for me. So I know that you appreciate me in this holiday time.
God, it's an awful tendency to be immediate teacher's pet.
Yeah.
To go, it was all Dave. It was all Dave.
Gene, how are the roads tonight?
Fairly empty, honestly.
That's good.
It is cold,
good for your sake and everyone else's.
Yeah. So, so what have you guys been talking about?
You've been listening. I mean, anything you want to chime in on?
Should we be on the curling team? Sure. Although I thought curling would be easier. It's not as easy as it looks. That's one thing I've learned. Not that I've ever like officially done curling, but I do know that it's not as easy as it looks. It's not just sliding. What do they call them? Stones. It's just not sliding stones down the ice and yay, win. No, there's, you have to be able to balance and sweep and have good aim. Yeah. So I think we could do it, but we'd have to train. I don't know. Sarah says that she feels like she'd be the liability in an athletic competition. She hasn't seen me get winded walking up steps lately. So I don't know. I think we'd probably be equally ineffective. We would be like the Phillies bullpen, equally ineffective. That's what I would call the Phillies bullpen.
I want that on a rally towel.
But my
equally
point
ineffective.
is, though, Gene, it
Yes.
wouldn't be your fault that you were put in that position.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Anybody that would anybody that would put me on a team, I really feel like it's their responsibility for doing that.
Gene, however, did play quarterback for our backyard football team in college.
I did. Well, Ian and I, but sometimes I would.
You were the backup, dude.
Yeah, it was really because I couldn't do much of anything. I was also the kick returner. But it was really because
back when you were fast, Gene.
I was fast. It was also I have a low center of gravity, and we played tackle. But that was the problem. Like, to be a wide receiver, and we would play at like 10 o'clock at night, you wouldn't be able to see me because everybody was so much taller. I'd sort of disappear. So
yeah, we would play at 10 p.m. at night under one floodlight.
Yeah.
So shadows were a big deal.
Right.
The sidewalks were a big deal.
The sidewalks were a real problem.
If anyone thinks this is too much, this was the arts department football game.
Yeah.
It was TV film versus theater, but I mean, you guys played for blood.
That being said,
I mean, somebody literally lost a nipple during one of the games.
It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Ward.
I still have that nipple.
Gross.
That being said, there were non-arts majors who would watch our game and comment on how vicious we were.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, all the athletics majors would look out of their dorm window while they were like in between bong hits and be like, "Those guys are fucking stupid."
Yeah. And then we had a ritual before every game where we would watch the program, swallow about 6 Advils.
Yes.
And then smoke cigarettes on our way down to go play.
Right.
Normal.
Yeah, Camels. Yeah, usually, or Winston.
Normal. Totally normal.
Yeah. And we played in jeans, and like we didn't even usually wear like athletic gear. Like it was like jeans and like
you were the only
crew boots
that was on the field.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have like 10 minutes left.
Hey, did you guys talk about how Sirianni's got the?
No, we didn't. We didn't mention that.
So Sirianni is on protocol now. So
breaking news.
Yeah, well, I mean, as of like 5 o'clock tonight. But hey, did you find? I was curious, so I did a little digging to find out if he's not available, who's going to coach the Eagles on Sunday. I wanted really just to make sure my schedule was clear in case they needed me.
Doug's not doing anything.
So it is. Let me. Since I know the answer, do you guys have a guess of who would be? Sarah, do you know who is going to be the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday if it's not Nick Sirianni?
I'm going to guess Gannon, but not the coach, the villain from Zelda.
I'm going to guess our offensive coordinator, who I can't remember his name, but the guy from the Chargers.
It is actually the passing coordinator.
Who dat?
I don't know his name now, but he's not the offensive coordinator. He's the passing coordinator.
So why is he next in command?
I guess because probably his job is going to be to just say, run the ball.
The passing coordinator will say that?
Yeah, well,
explains a lot.
Or if they do have to pass it, like at least he'll have some idea of what they're supposed to do.
His name is Kevin Patullo.
That's the right guy. Yeah, he's the passing coordinator, and he would be the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles if Nick Sirianni is not able to go. Well, I mean, there might be a major outbreak, though. Did you guys see how many people Sirianni was screaming at last night?
Steichen was my guess.
He was yelling at everybody last night. He was in everybody's face.
Who, Sirianni?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was mad.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts was saying that apparently earlier in the season they had a conversation where he said, I'm a coach's kid, so if you need to coach me and yell at me, like, do it. But I guess after the fumble last night, that's when the first time that Nick felt like he really needed to lay into him. So, perfect timing when he's highly contagious with a virus.
Ugh.
But anyway, yeah, so there's some sports update.
I like it. Gene brought something to the table at the last minute here.
Brought some content.
Especially being on the phone, we can really pretend like it's breaking for the people not watching live.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a long-time listener, first-time caller.
Where are you heading, Gene?
Home now.
Oh, you're going home?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was in Northeast Maryland for my rehearsal. Come see the Diary of Anne Frank at the Milburn Stone Theater in January. I'll be in it.
Where is that, Gene?
It's in Northeast Maryland at Cecil County Community College.
Maryland?
Yeah.
It's far, dude.
Yeah. Oh, and you got to pay a toll unless you live in Maryland.
Who? You're in the Diary of Anne Frank. Who do you play?
I play John Dussel.
Right on.
He's the dentist that comes in and is sort of the last added to the attic hideout.
Did you like? Are you like? Did you do any research for this role? Like, go to the dentist?
I went to the dentist. I looked up where Holland is on a map.
Good.
Yeah, and I'm leaning on all of my years of watching the History Channel to know all about World War II.
Do you do an accent for this show?
I do not.
Okay, it's probably good. That's probably a good choice. You're directing this too?
No. Just
just the talent. Right.
Just the talent. Yeah, just a character.
All right, good. Wait, when is this again? When is this?
January 21, 22, 23.
Okay, so we got a couple weeks of you plugging this on the show for us.
Oh yeah.
All right, so we get a little more information as we get closer. Sarah, do you have any news you'd like to share with our listening community?
Oh, yes, I do. So, this is my first show back in a while. It's going to be my last show for a long while. So, it's not my last Podadelphia, but probably my last Podadelphia for at least a year. All good. Just changing some things up. Not sports related, not podcast related, just other life stuff, but all good news. But this is gonna be my last show for a while until if Claude Giroux gets traded, you better bet I'm telling Dave and Gene that I'm on the next show. If the Flyers make the playoffs, that's far less likely than Claude Giroux being traded. But if that were to happen, I'm sure I'd like to pop in. But for at least a year, I'm going to be off the show. And I really, 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 really do want to thank all the people who listen. Oh, fuck. I should not have drank this much.
You know, we've been doing this show for like 4 years.
Yeah, I know. That's what gets me.
It's crazy.
Yeah, when we hit the 1 year mark, I, said like, all right, mission accomplished. And, it's been an eventful time here at Podadelphia. If you go back and look at our first shows, be kind, all right? But if you go back, it's been an eventful time. I've been so happy to share it with, first and foremost, you and Gene, Dave. I really, so I'm really gonna miss doing the show, but it's all good things, and if you guys will have me back when life facilitates me coming back, I'd love to do it. For everybody who's listened, everyone who I've gotten to interact with, old friends who became listeners to the show who've become friends, it's been really, really fun. I will be back eventually, but it's gonna be a bit. So
this isn't goodbye. It's goodbye forever.
Someone creeps in behind me with like an executioner's mask.
Right. Turn around.
Creepy
this podcast is coming from inside your house.
I think it's funny that Sarah made friends from this podcast. I have definitively only lost friends from this podcast.
There you go, Gene. Well, that should tell you about everyone's individual performances on this show.
Yeah, I am the weakest link.
Well, we are certainly going to miss you. The Flyers coverage is certainly going to miss you because
I'm going to be as good listening.
It's going to be rough, but obviously we wish you luck in your endeavors that are taking you away from us. But you'll be back. You'll be back.
We'll probably just keep sending you the link every week so that you can just show up whenever you feel like.
That is actually what's certainly going to happen.
That's kind. I would expect no less. I'd expect no less. Thank you.
All right. Well, on that note, we've hit our hour mark, and it's this our no? We'll have one more show, right? We'll have one more show for 2021.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be there for one more show. It might be a monologue, but.
That is bold, my friend. But
no, I'll be there.
So we'll have one more cocktail fueled show before the end of the year. So that'll be a good time. So we'll be back next. We'll be back on our regular date and time on Tuesday. If you haven't done so already, please remember to rate, review, and subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, check us out on social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Just search Podadelphia. If you have any more time in your podcast listening day, be sure to check out the Whip Around for all the week's weird news. Also, check out the Painted Lines and the Philly Sports Alliance on YouTube and Facebook for wall-to-wall Philly sports coverage. Until next week, have a Merry Christmas and have a great day at work if you're still working, because we are out of here.